Like so many people, so many of you, I have a few special talents up my sleeves too. And one of my talents is the ability to deny or otherwise render myself oblivious to certain abrasive aspects of reality in order to cope with said reality. However, notwithstanding that talent, I was recently severely impacted negatively by gruesome images in videos I saw right here on YouTube. Those images have since been etched, ingrained, carved, engraved in my mind, situated there indelibly, perhaps. Hopefully, time erases them and I become free of them because I can still see those images anywhere I look. And this is without even closing my eyes, without even wanting to remember them. I can look directly into the sun and still see those images vividly. Among the ways I was so horribly affected are I have been losing sleep, I have been losing my appetite, and I'm constantly angry. No normal person can see those videos and not become enraged because these are images of beautiful little babies, no more than 2 years old, 2.5 at most, literally dying of starvation. There is no hyperbole here. Beautiful little angels dying of starvation and or disease. Beautiful little angels, no more than two. All babies are beautiful. Babies are beautiful by default, and they are beautiful regardless of their respective appearances and or conditions. And so I'm angry with myself and with the world at large, and particularly with humanity. Because here we are, patting ourselves on the back, giving ourselves all kinds of accolades, vaunting our space programs, quantum computers, vast advances in medical science, all kinds of advances in engineering and technology. We are supposed to be the most advanced, the most evolved species. And we have little babies of our own species dying of starvation right in front of us. So, how advanced are we? Ostensibly, we are supposed to be God's greatest creation. Oh, yeah? Now, I implore you to please don't try to look at these videos for yourselves. Because, like I said, even with my ability to deny these troubling things, these vexatious things, and these are all euphemisms. We need strong words for what I saw. I am still severely affected in a bad way. So I don't know how people, normal, regular people without my talent, would fare. having looked at those videos. So please take my word for it. Believe what I'm telling you. Let me spare you the misery. Let me spare your having to go through the ordeal of looking at those little babies for yourselves. Because you might never be the same again. However, if, in spite of my caveat, you insist on seeing them yourselves, go right here on YouTube, type in starving kids in Africa, African destitution, African slums, starving infants, whatever. Words like those. And they'll take you to a video, and that video will probably lead you to another one, but you'll soon get what I'm trying to give you. You'll see what I'm saying. And you have been warned, however. Don't say I didn't tell you. Look at those videos at your own. They are very, very difficult videos to look at. Beautiful little babies. When you look at them, prima facie, the things that are prominent, salient, the things that jump out at you, the immediately visible features: large heads, eyes sunken deep in their sockets all the way to the bases of the skull, large distended tummies filled with air, large joints. If you look really carefully, you may see the parts connecting the joints, consisting only of skin and bone, the arms, the forearms, thighs, etc. If, God forbids, one of these beautiful little babies breaks a bone or suffers a fracture, an x-ray would not be required. No exaggeration. And that's really bad, but it's worse than that, really. These poor little angels are too young to know that the pain they experience, the pain they feel in their tummies, in their bellies, is known as hunger in whatever language they speak. And they'll die without ever knowing that that pain is called hunger. Beautiful little babies. They're not going to make it to 3 years old. That's the hard cold fact. Of course, there are miracles, and that's what I'm hoping for. But that's not all I am hoping for. So that's one of the things. Because, in fact, the reason that I'm angry is because they don't have to be that way, and we can prevent it. We could have prevented it from happening. So fine, we failed to prevent it from happening. But now that it's happening, we can stop it. These babies, scientifically, they are living. Philosophically, they're merely existing. And we can change that. We can make them into fat little babies like we have over here. Little tyrants, throwing tantrums, breaking things, screaming, and making noise. That's what I want these babies to be doing. Not staring death in its face, blankly staring at death. That's what they're doing right now. These, one baby would be too many. But then, these are not just a few babies in some isolated tribe, in some remote hidden corner of the world somewhere. No. They're all over the place, in Africa and Asia, in China, in the Philippines, in India, videos I saw were all videos of African babies, black babies. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's anywhere between hundreds of thousands to perhaps millions. Even if it's just one, the location, the villages, wherever, where these babies live, are themselves torturous. The merciless sun beating down on the earth over the mud huts, the few blades of grass themselves dying of starvation and thirst, sunburnt, parched, dry, no more than an inch long, sparsely scattered all over the place. But dust, hot sun and dust, no potable water. In fact, there is no water, period, potable or otherwise. How these mothers make milk for the babies, I have no idea. No water, plus I don't know where they get the nutrients to get the particles that's in suspension in the milk. These babies don't have the water to make tears. There's no water. They don't have the strength to convert, to translate, to vocalize their pain. They don't have the strength to change their agony into sound. So these little angels, they cry tearlessly and silently, a very surreal, unimaginable way to cry. They just stare blankly, as if they're staring at death as it approaches to relieve them of their misery once and for all. I know I would prefer death quickly to those conditions, to existing under those conditions. When you look at these babies, you pray for them to die. That's how bad it is. Many of them look like they cannot be salvaged. They can never be made. I don't know. Uh, I'm not an expert. I really, but they look so. That's how terrible they look. That is how terrible they look. You want to, you can look at those videos and see for yourselves. Not that I am recommending that. Very badly off. Even the vilest person would lose his mind if he looks at those babies. The most wicked, evil person. Now, we have other babies all over the place starving, not only in Africa, but these are the ones that affect me lately, and these are the ones I'm going to talk about. Plus, we have all the tools to address the black babies because we have 40 million black people in America. Not that this is a black problem. Well, it's black babies, but it's a global problem. It's a humanitarian problem. It's a humanitarian crisis, for heaven's sake. The problem belongs to all of us, not only black people. But we do have 40 million black people here. We have 300 million people in America, in excess of 300 million people. If a third of the American population each gives $100, if 100 million people give $100 each, that's 100, 6, 10 zeros, that's 10, that's $10 billion, 10,000 million. If a third of the population gives $100 each person, that's 100 million people giving $100 each, $10 billion. That is something like what we're looking at. That would be more than enough to give these babies a life each. So if it's $50 each, it's 5 billion. Still a good sum. A fraction of what we send to Ukraine is more than enough to tide these kids over for several years. We have 400, we have thousands of affluent blacks in America. Thousands. Thousands of stars and other celebrities, including athletes, etc., etc. Countless influential blacks in positions of authority and power. Black mayors, black governors, attorneys general, uh, police chiefs, etc., etc. And we have black political power in Congress in the form of the Congressional Black Caucus, in the form of the shameless, may I mention, the shameless black members of the Congressional Black Caucus, famous for unprecedented, unparalleled, elaborate, extravagant displays of histrionics, these thespians, on the floor of the House of Representatives. That's what they're famous for. These people have since abandoned, abnegated, abdicated all responsibilities, obligations, commitments, etc., to their respective constituents in favor of directing, concentrating, focusing all their efforts and energies towards the happiness and prosperity of the Democrat Party, their white masses. These shameless members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And I refer to Benny Thompson, Hank Johnson, Glenn Ivey, Hakeem Jeffries, Stacey Plaskett, Sheila Jackson Lee, Maxine Waters, Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Mesha Menor. Well, Mesha Menor has recently apostatized. She has reneged from the Democrat Party and is now with the Republicans. These thespians, these shameless, albeit skilled actors and actresses comprising the Congressional Black Caucus, those named individuals, who exists primarily, fundamentally, solely, only to keep the Democrat Party in power, does nothing for the black people, say nothing rather, about the little baby starving over there. Every day it's Russian collusion, and January 6th, and this is racist and that is racist, nothing else. Racist, 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 Russian collusion, January 6th, January 6th. Stacey Plaskett and Benny Thompson and Hank Johnson, namely. That's what these people are for. Anyway, that's not what the video is for. This video is to galvanize motivate to mobilize people into getting other people to do things, to raise awareness. The more awareness that's risen, the faster help is going to get these babies. They need right away. They need food, medicine, and clothing right away, and they need people to go over there, create some semblance while we're trying to get them here. Create some semblance of a utopia there where they can be kept so that they can be fed properly, medicated, and educated even. That needs to start happening right away. They needed help decades ago when their grandparents were alive. Perhaps if their grandparents had received the help they needed, maybe these little babies would not have been in the situations they're in today. So they needed help decades ago. But forget about the past, let's look forward, beginning today. Let's help whom we can help right now, when we can help them. And that would be those black babies. Because we have the wherewithal and we have the logistics. We have more than is required. Much, much more than is required. We have to get these same shameless members of the Congressional Black Caucus to make the situations of these little babies into an issue that they can submit before any debate on the floor of the House of Representatives every time they convene in the various committees. The rest of the people, this video is to get whoever is listening to the audio in it to write, tell other people, make videos like this maybe. Get on Instagram, get on Facebook, get on Twitter, call people, write people, text people, shout at them, I don't care. Send smoke signals, beat drums, send carrier pigeons, write it in bottles, throw it in the sea, I don't care. We need to reach out to as many people as possible. This is not a black problem. It's a humanitarian problem. Of course, the black people are not going to do anything about it. But hopefully, the more black people get involved, the better. Because then other people are going to. If you retreat under an awning from the rain or the snow, you huddling there with all the strangers, use that issue about the babies as a gambit to make small talk. You're on the checkout lines in the store, raise a topic there among whoever is with you stuck there in the line. You're on the lines in the bank, same thing. In trains, in buses, in planes, tell your classmates if you're in school, if you're the professor, tell the students every day. Keep hammering it in. We have to. We can't have these kids lying there staring in the face of death all day, dying, dying all day. That death, the place is, it's all about death. The parents are just like the babies. It's a miracle that they made it thus far. Teenagers, adolescents, young adults, they look like they're in their hundreds, the parents of these kids. It's a miracle that they're still alive, but they themselves are not going to be around for much longer, based on the way they look. These babies need help. We need to get these babies, make them fat, make them like regular babies, throwing tantrums on the floor, breaking things, making noises, crying, raising hell. That's what we need these babies to do. Not lying there staring blankly at death. That's no, 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 no. That has to stop. That has to stop now. These babies need help. They need food, they need clothing, they need medicine. They need a place where they can live properly, sanitarily. So we need people over there. We need to bring them here and or have a utopia created over there for them, established over there. Whatever we do, these babies need to be cared for. And who's going to do it? We are going to have to do it. It's facing us all as a species, as a race, as the human race. We need to help those babies. Talk to strangers, talk to your acquaintances, talk to your colleagues, talk to your relatives, your neighbors, your friends, your families. Talk to your pets because when you talk to the pets about it, you remind yourself. Like I said, go on your social platforms, Instagram, whatever you have, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Write letters, text, make calls. Look, these babies need help. These babies need help. That's what I'm saying. And right now, the only thing that's helping them, not in the ways that is desirable, but it's better than no help at all. And the quicker it comes, the better. And that help they're getting is death. The only help these babies are getting is death. They need help.